Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we are going to start Unit 10 of Class 6, that is New Empires and Kingdoms. Without any delay, let's begin. So first, let's understand the word Prashasti. It's a Sanskrit word meaning in praise of. These are inscriptions written by poets or court officials in praise of their kings. They were not ordinary records. They were meant to glorify the ruler, showing him as brave, powerful, generous, and almost godlike. Prashastis were written for many rurals earlier too, like Gautamiputra Satakani, but they became much more important during the Gupta period. And now, let's look at the most famous example, that is Samudragupta's Prashasti. We know about Samudragupta, a famous ruler of Gupta dynasty, from a long inscription found on the Ashokan pillar at Allahabad. This inscription was written as a kavya by Harisena, who was a poet and minister in Samudragupta's court. Now, this Prashasti praised the king in the glowing words, like Harisena described Samudragupta as a great warrior, a learned scholar, a poet, and even equal to the gods. Now, the Samudragupta's conquest. If you look at the map in your book, that is this one, you will see different colored regions. Those are based on Harisena's descriptions of Samudragupta's conquest. Okay, in that, rulers of Aryavarta, there were 9 rulers here. Samudragupta defeated them completely and made their kingdoms part of his empire. And rulers of Dakshinapatha, they were 12 rulers. They were defeated but then allowed to rule again. They accepted his power. So next, neighboring states like Assam, Bengal, Nepal, and these rulers brought tribute and obeyed his orders and attended his court. And also distant rulers like Shakas, Kushanas, and even the ruler of Sri Lanka, they accepted his supremacy and even offered daughters in marriage. So you see, this Prashasti not only praises Samudragupta's but also helps historians map his empire and foreign relation. Next, the most Prashastis also mentioned in the ancestors of the ruler, like a royal family tree. In this one, we got to know about Samudragupta's family, that is his great-grandfather and grandfather we called Maharajas. His father Chandragupta I was the first Gupta ruler to use the grand title Maharaja the Raja. His mother Kumara Devi came from the Lichavigana, a powerful clan. This shows how the family gradually rose in importance and power. Later, his son Chandragupta II, that is Vikramaditya, continued this legacy and expanded the empire, and is remembered for having a court full of learned scholars, about whom we will learn in the later chapter. Okay. Next, now we come to another powerful ruler, that is Harshavardhana, who ruled around 1400 years ago. His court poet Banabhatta, who wrote his biography called Harshacharita in Sanskrit. This gives us detail about Harsha's genealogy and how he became king. We also know about him from Xuanzang, the Chinese traveler who visited his court and wrote detailed accounts of India at that time. Harsha wasn't the eldest son. He became king after the death of his father and elder brother. Later, he took over Kannauj and led campaigns in Magadha and Bengal. But when he tried to march into Deccan, he was stopped by powerful Chalukya ruler Pulakeshin II. And remember the conflict, that is Harshavardhana versus Pulakeshin II, the Chalukya ruler who stopped Harsha's expansion. Okay, these things are important. This will usually ask in UPSC prelims. Okay, the Pallavas, Chalukyas, and Pulakeshis Prashastis. During this period, 2 major dynasties ruled South India, that is the Pallavas and the Chalukyas. The Pallavas, the capital at Kanchipuram, ruled the area up to Kaveri Delta, and Chalukyas capital at Aihole, located between the rivers Krishna and Tungabhadra. And Aihole was a major trading and religious center filled with beautiful temples. The Pallavas and Chalukyas often fought with each other, especially attacking each other's capitals. Okay, now the most famous Chalukya ruler was Pulakeshin II. We know about him from his Prashasti, composed by poet Ravi Kirti. And this Prashasti tells us about his ancestors, his victories along the east and west coast, and his famous battle was where he defeated Harshavardhana. And there's even a play on words, that is Harsha means happiness, and poet wrote that after this defeat, Harsha was no longer Harsha. However, the Chalukya glory didn't last long eventually. Both the Pallavas and Chalukyas were replaced by new powers like the Rashtrakutas and Cholas. Now, the administration and governance. Just like earlier kings, these rulers depended heavily on land revenue. The village was the basic unit of administration. But some new developments happened, that is important posts become hereditary, that is meaning sons succeeded their fathers, and for example Harishen was also a Mahadandanayak or chief judicial officer just like his father, and sometimes one person held multiple positions, like Harishen was also Kumara Matya, that is minister, and Sandhi Vigrahika, that is minister of war and peace. Okay, and also local administration include officials like Nagara Shestri, chief merchant or banker, Sartavaha, leader of merchant caravans, and Pratama Kulika, that is chief craftsman, and head of Kayasthas, that is scribes and record keeper. And these words are important. The prelims, usually in prelims, they ask these type of questions. Okay. Next, a new kind of army, that is rulers maintained strong armies with elephants, cavalry, chariots and foot soldiers, but they also relied on samantas, that is local military leaders who provided troops when they needed. Instead of salaries, these samantas were given land grants from which they collected revenue to maintain their soldiers and horses. Later, some of them became powerful and declared independent when center power weakened. Next, in the Pallava region, local assemblies played a big role, that is Sabha means assembly of Brahmin landowners, and Ur means village assembly for non-Brahmin landowners, and also Nagara means organization of merchants. And these bodies managed irrigation, agriculture, roads, temples and other local issues. They were mostly controlled by wealthy landowners and traders. Okay. Next, the life of ordinary people. From Kalidasa's play, we learn about life in royal courts. That in his famous play Abhijana Sakuntalam, he shows the difference in languages. That is, kings and Brahmins spoke Sanskrit while ordinary people spoke Prakrit. The Chinese traveler Fajian wrote about untouchability. He observed that people considered low had to live outside the cities and had to strike a piece of wood to warn others not to touch them. Also, the poet Banavatta gives us a vivid description of royal armies and daily life from soldier to villagers. And so that's all for this unit, and I will see you in the next unit soon. Till then, take care and don't forget to like, share and subscribe.